Till 2019, most of the supplies in India were coming from China. Only the 5% supply were going out from the Indian factories. One of the bold move which we have taken in 2019 onwards was to change our business model from government supplier to large scale manufacturer. Any activity which you are doing based on a donation cannot sustain for a long. Somehow we could get entry into one of a factory in Poland. It's not a rocket science. The kind of the existing facility what we have established is a global facility. That time the competition was with Chinese supplies, which was subsidized, highly subsidized. Chinese, up till now, the Chinese companies, they were manufacturing for the all countries and global customers. And the Solex has developed such a reputation in a market that now we are manufacturing for the leading Chinese brand. Now for renewable energy, MNRE, that is Ministry of Renewable Energy, they are the one point contact. US and Europe both, will be one of major market parallel to India for Indian manufacturers and Solex as well. There is always a risk of obsolescence of a technology, Technology is changing so fast and other countries are working for developing new technology. Now it's time for getting into the R&D, developing our own technology, our indigenous technology.
Hi, this is Shaina Khan, and today we are talking about from energy security to sustainability. India's clean energy push is reshaping industries. But what does it take to scale a solar manufacturing business in the evolving landscape? Today, we speak with Dr. Chetan Shah, Chairman and Managing Director of Solex Energy Limited, to decode the strategy, the risk, and the opportunities coming ahead. Dr. Chetan, thank you so much firstly. आपने इतने busy schedule से time निकाला for us to catch up. We are really honored to have you here with us. I hope you are excited as well because I'm looking forward to know your journey and your experience all these years. So how's the feeling, by the way, being here in Mumbai?
Yeah, really, it's exciting.
So, sir, we would love to know the journey, the details more. India is moving aggressively towards clean energy. Where does Solex Energy sees itself in a journey? It's what role do you personally want to play in shaping the coming up future?
We have seen ups and downs in this journey, and I think it's almost now 17 years that we are into the
Wow.
photovoltaic, and we are into renewable energy space for almost 31 years now. So, we started where there was no talk about, people were not aware about anything about renewable energy. So, we have seen that journey, we have seen all the ups and downs, and I think from 2023 onwards, India has actually took off.
Yes, very much.
And like we started manufacturing solar panels in 2007. So, we were one of the early mover manufacturing solar PV modules. And I think till 2019, most of the supplies in India were coming from China. Only the 5% supply were going out from the Indian factories. So, and nowadays, almost 100% of the supplies are going out from the Indian factories. So, the things are very exciting, encouraging, and we are looking forward to have much more bigger scale of business, not only in terms of the manufacturing of product, but in terms of R&D and in terms of developing new product, a more sustainable product. That's something which is very important for India. So, I see Indian manufacturing, Indian R&D will come up in a very big way in days to come. As a person also, I want to see India as one of the most trusted supplier globally, and I want to contribute to this journey, to the other new entrant in this space. And of course, the young generation, those who are getting into the business, I would definitely like to guide them. In case if there are some takeaways from my experiences, they can definitely learn from that. It's a technology business.
Of course.
So challenges are unlimited. By the time you adopt a technology, there is a new technology which is coming up. It's like IT. My background is also IT, so I can correlate that. So every 2 years we change our laptop and we go for the higher, better version. Similar
Yes.
like solar, like every 2 years we get a newer technology,
And
more
we update.
efficient panels. So it's something which is very interesting, and it keeps people moving and then working so hard. So I think Indian journey is going to be exciting. All Indian manufacturers are definitely, they, if they gear up, they will be able to gain that respect. So I think it's a great chance, golden chance for India.
As you mentioned, you are already a role model to many people out there. They look up to you. I was so inspired when I read your story, and it feels so good to be sharing this one on one with you. Well, if I ask you, if we look back at the Solex energy journey, what were the bold or critic decisions which really changed the game for the company?
As I said, we have come a long way in manufacturing. Fortunately, in 2019, government came up with their intention to, support manufacturing in India rather than being a import dependence. So I think the major, the decision which we had to take is that are we ready for this big change which is coming up? Are we capable, or are we able to develop ourselves as a global manufacturer with the global standards? Because that mindset was not there.
Correct.
So we were more towards like manufacturing and then consuming our manufactured goods in our own projects, and majorly into the government segments. So the one of the bold move which we have taken in 2019 onwards was to change our business model from government supplier to the large scale manufacturer. That was one of a very big decision which we took. Our company got listed on NSE in 2018. So we are the first module manufacturer to get listed on National Stock Exchange in 2018. So we knew the journey, like where the things are moving and what kind of capital would require, what kind of the capacity which we need to build up. So 19 was a big game changer for us, that we decided to stop participating in government tenders and government projects and get into the CNI segment, which is a commercial and industrial segment, and majorly into the manufacturing at the very large scale rather than the small players, and supplying to the global clients. So that was one of a very big decision which we took, and I think today, after hard work of so many years, like 4-5 years, we are rewarded accordingly.
Wow, lovely. Very curious to know. What was that thought? Is there any incident that happened, this suddenly came into your mind that this is something that we should do to cut off the pollution, or what you are doing, it's a great work. So, ऐसा कोई incident हुआ था, या फिर suddenly it just was in your head that you always wanted? I'm sure this was in the plan since a longer time. It might be a thought overnight and you executed it so well.
Yeah, I was a part of one of climate change action team working with the Rockefeller Foundation USA.
Wow.
So we were always like working on certain models where we can develop sustainable cities and such sustainable states, and and climate resilient strategies. Those things we were working on. I've been to USA also many times. I was invited by the Barack Obama administration to present the case what we are doing to mitigate those actions. So one thing which I observed was that most of the actions are dependent on a donations,
Correct.
and any activity which you are doing based on a donation cannot sustain for a long, because you
Yes.
are dependent on, you don't have your own
There is no
self-sustained
rolling.
model.
Yes.
So the day one, like I had something in my mind that how can we develop something which supports, which helps our sustainability programs and eco-friendly environment, those kind of actions. And then I thought we should get into commercial part of this. So then we decided to get into the manufacturing of solar panels, because India has ample of solar. We have almost about 335 days of sun, and then globally also other countries are also having a good amount of sun where we can generate. And it's not only solar, it's a renewable, like Europe has a lot of wind power, then the hydro and a lot of other renewable resources. So we were just thinking like to develop a business model which supports our intentions indirectly, but then which is a self-sustain, and that's how we got into the the renewable energy business. And I think we knew that globally there is an increased demand of energy, and people are consuming a lot now, and it will increase. So energy, and that too the renewable energy, was the best choice for us, and we got into this. So we are early mover, but then this is a background where, like, we thought we should be into this space.
In the sector like renewable energy, scaling fast is so important, and so is taking up the profitability. How do you strike that balance, if I ask you?
Till 2019 we had these challenges, as I said, like, the mindset was not pro manufacturing, it was more import dependent, and then getting the technology from outside and then deploy it in our projects. So manufacturing was a big challenge. So scaling up again was a big challenge, because 95% of the solar panels were imported from the other countries, and only 5% were going out from the Indian factories, as I mentioned earlier. So with this kind of business, like, we used to celebrate when we achieve 40% of our production capacity, and we should celebrate, okay, this we have reached to the 40% of our installed capacity. So that was a time we have seen. And then government of India, in fact, the present government has come up with intentions that we want to be self-sufficient on the manufacturing also, and supply of goods from Indian facilities. So that was a quite motivating thing, and they introduced ALLM in 2019. We are the first company to get listed in ALLM.
Wow,
In fact,
congrats.
because we could see that, okay, fine, if this works out, and if the government actually really they implement this, then it will be a big game changer for India. We foresee that, and then we decided to get into the manufacturing from 2019 onwards, on a bigger scale. So scaling up after ALLM is not a challenge. Now challenge is to meet with the growth, kind of the way business is growing. We have to match our speed of our production, increasing our production capacity with the demand which is there in India and globally. So I think we are managing it very well, but our approach is different. Like, there are people in industry, they are just expanding very blindly, and then they are struggling with their own operations cost, and then they are not having sufficient orders, and they are unable to operate their utilize their installed capacity fully. So our approach is different. Like, we interact with the client, we get orders, and then we expand. So the achieving output from our production installed capacity is highest. We are almost operating at almost about 75%, whereas the industry standard is 50%. So that is how we are managing our current financials and the scaling up journey.
You were talking about your achievements, like how you all should celebrate the small achievements at the beginning when it was 40%. Or you would like to share any of your such celebration, if you remember any of your achievements which you would like to bring it up here?
Yeah, so when we got into the business, the challenge was that how to win the trust of customers. So when we actually we wanted to enter this business, and then we were not aware about how the solar panels are being manufactured, and we wanted to see the facility. So we approached a few, but there were around 2 or 3 companies in India at that time manufacturing solar panels, and then some companies outside India, which is mainly in Europe. So we requested a few Indian companies to allow us to visit their facility. In Europe also we tried to get into some facility, but then it was like, they were just making rockets, and they were not, they said they refuse to allow us to visit those facility. So that was a struggle time, like, without knowing that how the solar panels are being manufactured, how do you invest in this business?
Correct.
So somehow we could get entry into one of a factory in Poland. So we visited that factory, we saw how the solar panels are being manufactured. On that day we decided that we will, it's not a rocket science. So we will not have the similar approach what the other manufacturers are having. So the call was that we do not want, we want people to visit the facility and see how the solar panels are being manufactured. So the first thing what we did, those who refuse us to enter into their premises, we invited them.
Huh. Very
Okay,
nice.
fine. Please come and see
You
our
should be the one,
facility,
yes,
and
one,
you
first
guide us
one
whether
to
if we have
correct.
done any, I mean, we have done any mistakes. They visited us, they guided us, and you know, and the knowledge is free. If I am getting
Correct, of
knowledge, it's
course. Why
something
not?
in my
Yes.
interest only. And then ultimately they gave us some business that to manufacture solar panels for them. That is how we started. So we started manufacturing for our competitors rather than competing with them. So we believe in making friends, not competition.
Correct.
Though we compete in the market, but then they are friends. So slowly we started growing up, and then end customers also started recognizing our efforts, our tech quality control, and our efforts. Why the other manufacturers are trusting us. So those things actually helped us to grow. And in fact, we are one of the most trusted and friendly company for our competitors.
Wow.
And the kind of the existing facility what we have established is a global facility. So globally in what sense? Like any global client, whether it is a European, American, Chinese, or any Indian customer, they walk in and they will find their desired things in place, in terms of quality, in terms of processes, in terms of traceability and everything. So that's a very unique facility which we wanted to get. Everybody manufactures solar panels. We don't make rockets. We are also, our solar panels are also same. If you take out the label, then you don't find difference in solar panels manufactured by me or our Solex or other companies. The difference is the processes, the quality. If I am committing 30 years warranty, my product has to be robust. Manufacturing quality has to be a very,
Experience talk,
yeah.
yes.
So that was the call, and that's the reason that all our competitors are also trusting us. Whatever that complicated or very strict, where they have a very strict audit requirement or the quality requirement, they offload their project to us to manufacture the panels. So that is how we started our journey. So our present capacity is 4 gigawatt, which is operational, and as per our announcement to our shareholders, we are scaling up our capacity to 10 gigawatt and of modules, 10 gigawatt of solar cells, and 2 gigawatt of wafer and ingot. This is all backed by very high technology requirement and responsibilities that we have taken. So I think our approach in market is different than other manufacturers. Number one is that we believe in collaboration. We always feel that it is not that we know everything. We don't know everything. That is the
That's
approach.
a very good attitude.
Every day in the morning you get up, if you say I don't know anything, then it helps you to learn
Learn more
something
and more
more and
things,
more.
yes.
If you feel like I know everything, then you stop learning. So that is even the message I give to my team also. That you don't know anything. When you wake up, you feel you don't know anything. In the night when you sleep, yes, I have done wonderful. Next day again you wake up in the morning, you don't know
Fresh
anything.
mind, yes.
So the people, they are more comfortable with us, telling us new things, and if the new things are coming, knowledge is coming, I think that is helping us.
The solar space is becoming so competitive, as we all know. What makes Solex Energy stand out?
Yeah, so it has always been a competitive business. It's not that the competition is right now. Earlier, the in India demand was around 8 gigawatt, and accordingly, there were manufacturers, and most of the things were coming from China. So at that time, the competition was with Chinese supplies, which was subsidized, highly subsidized. And we sustained through that journey. So it's not that we cannot do that. Even if we can compete with Chinese and if we can sustain, now the demand has increased to almost 35 to 40 gigawatt a year, from 8 gigawatt to 40 gigawatt. So 5 times, almost more demand which has come up in India. And again, the capacity which was 6 gigawatt in 2019, now the capacity has come to 170 gigawatt. So again, competition is there.
Correct.
In solar business, fortunately, people believes in the company, those who are in business for longer, consistency. That's something which is key, because these are very high capex items, and it has a very long tenure of warranty, 25, 30 years warranty. So people look for this company, those who are having a very strong background, long background in this business. So that is the first thing. As a Solex, our, I mean, our belief is always into the quality, because at the end of the day, quality wins.
Correct.
And references like word of mouth, that's something which is very important. If I deliver a good product, sustainable product which generates very high efficient and more solar power, I think those customers, they give reference to others. As a Solex, I always believe in utilization of my installed capacity, my manufacturing capacity. So as I said, like I like to make friends in industry and then invite them. So if I have a spare capacity in my plant, I get business from my friends. For business, they are competitors, but as an industry, they are friends. So I mean, with this journey and with these experiences now, I mean, we are very proud to say that Chinese, up till now, the Chinese companies, they were manufacturing for the all countries and global customers. And the Solex has developed such a reputation in a market that now we are manufacturing for the leading Chinese brands.
Wow.
So, the whole thing
This is
has
the
changed.
achievement. Everything,
2019,
yes.
95% of
It
the
has come to a circle.
circle, yeah.
Yes.
So, this is how the Solex, and this is what I want every manufacturer to adapt that. Not restrict to the Indian market and restrict to their own production and facilities, but I think the most important thing is that you develop your company or your setup for the global supplies, irrespective of anything that, and so that helps you to bring more knowledge, technology, and it push you a lot on in terms of manufacturing very high quality and high standards product within a time frame. That's something which is very important. Now India has scale up. As I said, 6 gigawatt to 170 gigawatt. We do have a capacity to supply not only to India but to the US and Europeans also. We have sufficient capacity. It is now we need to change our approach. We need to become more friendly to European and US clients. We need to fulfill their requirement and demands, and I think we can do that.
Well, we are talking about Indian government. What are your thoughts on the support from the government, and do you think it's pushing the industry in the right direction?
So I think the current journey, what we have with 6 gigawatt to 170 gigawatt, I must thank to government of India led by Mr. Narendra Modi, and I mean, because it was this government has taken such a step initiatives to support Indian manufacturing, and they boldly came up with the ALLM in 2019. Of course, they implemented, enforced it in 2023, but they pushed us, to increase, expand our manufacturing capacity and reach to a level where we feel like they also feel like, okay, we have a sufficient manufacturing capacity to cater to our own demand. So there is no need of importing of solar panels from other countries. So that is what they ensure. They supported us. And best part in this journey was, I mean, that was something which was, I mean, I have not seen in earlier years, the kind of interactive sessions they had. I mean, all the ministry is very proactive. Ministers, secretaries, bureaucrats, they are all very proactive, and they interacted with the industry. The developers and the manufacturers, both, they try to balance both requirements, and they ensure that at the end of the day, the developers also gain their business more momentum, and the manufacturers also expand their capacity. So they invited both all the stakeholders every month to Delhi. They interacted. They wanted us to share our requirement, our
Have
demands,
that
our
connection.
problems, and they become a one-point contact for us. So that is very rare in any government. I mean, in earlier years, like we used to chase different ministry for the different problems, and then we were not sure that are we getting that solution or not. Now for renewable energy, MNRE, that is Ministry of Renewable Energy, they are the one-point contact. The secretary takes meeting every month. Minister also meets industry stakeholders very regularly. They ask us problems related to other ministries also. In case if something related to customs, if something related to GST, and any other initiatives also. So they say you don't have to chase those other different ministry. You put up your problem to us, we will interact with those, then get it solved. So that was something which was that gave us a lot of confidence
Of course,
that
yes.
government is
A big
proactive, they are
support.
supporting us, and they are working for us. That was we felt, and that's the reason we have invested. Industry has invested. I don't think that in manufacturing we require government subsidy or anything, because we are entrepreneurs. We are a country of entrepreneurs. We can develop. Only thing which was needed was the support, the confidence that yes, we are there for long term. It's not something there for long term. I think that has actually helped us in scaling it up, and the government role is some, I must say, and it's not only in manufacturing. They ensure that whatever that we manufacture, it is consumed. So they awarded more and more business award for the solar power plants. You can see like one of the largest power plant is solar power plant is is under construction in Khavda, which is single site 40 gigawatt. That's something which is huge. Recently we saw the announcement of Reliance also for their captive. They are setting up one of the largest, means like 10 times bigger than what largest we are talking about. So that scale that India has gained, and it's only because of the government support. The power business, the energy business is regulated by, highly regulated by the central government and states governments. So it is very difficult to sail through this, different authorities. But I think India has set example where the other countries, our developed countries also will, they are learning from India.
India has signed some major trade agreements recently, especially with the US and Europe. If I ask you, how could these impact the solar manufacturing industry and, of course, Solex Energy specifically?
Yeah, so basically we were already into overseas market. As I said, we have invested a lot of time, money and energy into developing the very high quality product, sustainable product, and we have fulfilled the requirement of many leading European companies also. When there are many companies which I have seen coming to our facility for audit, before they check the product, they used to spend 60% of their time on our policies, on our documentation, our HR policy, our safety standards. Those things are very important for them. And then later on, the rest 40% of time they spend on our production facility or the product quality and everything. So, and we have gained those criteria. I mean, we have achieved those requirement. So, with this now trade deal and US particularly, Europe is a little bit slow these days, but there is a great opportunity which is coming up for US. We are already exporting, we have exported to Europe, in Middle East, in Africa, and some small part of our business came from the US also. So, we do have all the qualification ready and everything. We were just waiting for this this deal to get through and opening up some greater opportunity. So, I think it's there. So, so as a Solex, we are already prepared for this, and US and Europe both, like will be one of major market parallel to India for Indian manufacturers and Solex as well.
So, we would love to know, what is the biggest challenge that you are facing currently?
So there are challenges. So as I said, this is one of the fastest growing business in the country, or in the world rather. And we solve one challenge, and the other three challenges are ready with us. The major challenge is, that is the mindset. And if somebody asks me what are the problems that you face, is that I say the growth is a problem. Which is, growth is good for everybody, but
Of course.
the challenge is growth, that we are not aligned to the growth. That is the problem. So we need to change our mindset. We need to be more manufacturing centric, scale up our capacity, raising funds. These are the bigger, the bigger challenges. Fund is of course, because it requires a lot of money, a lot of investment, long term investment in this business. So I think if we can crack through this, we have unlimited opportunities.
I was about to ask you, my next question was this only, is what are your takes? Do you think India is ready to compete globally into the solar manufacturing?
Yes, we are very much ready in terms of supply, in terms of capacity, in terms of volume, in terms of quality, in terms of reliability. Reliability, we were already there. Like, we were like the Europeans and American. They were consider us more reliable than any other suppliers. The problem was the scale. Problem was the mindset to cater to the overseas requirement. So that we are ready now, and those who are changing fast, I think they will gain more business from these countries.
The attitude that you have and the way you shared that every morning you get up thinking of you still have a lot to learn, and then going to the bed in the night with a peaceful mindset that you have done enough throughout the day. Is there something that really bothers you and keeps you awake at night as a leader?
Yeah. So because we know we are into technology business, so there is always a risk of obsolescence of a technology. Technology is changing so fast, and other countries are working for developing new technology. So that is something where, like, I always keep thinking about that. How do we, because at present we don't have control on a technology. We are bringing technology from the outside and we are manufacturing. So we have developed our setup for the manufacturing, to the size, to the scale, to the volume. Now it's time for getting into the R&D, developing our own technology, our indigenous technology. Why can't we ever have our own patents for the renewable energy products, solar cells, high efficiency solar cells? Why can't we develop solar cells for the space applications? They are beautiful institute. There are, like, a few science and technology institute, particularly there is a institute in Bangalore. They are working very well on the develop in R&D. But I think the funding and attention to the R&D is very less, and that is where, like, I feel like we should develop. With this background, in fact, we have recently signed a contract and we have collaborated with ISC Constance.
Wow,
ISC Constance is
congratulations.
a German R&D institute, and they are one of a pioneer in terms of developing back contact technology and other technology as well. So though, like, we are a very small company, we are not very large scale the sector, I mean the scale companies, but then our intentions are very clear that if we are into manufacturing, we want to in future we want to develop our own invented product in our facility, rather than bought out technology in our facility. These are the intention, and by our own young generation and our own scientists. Our scientists are working right now. In fact, these technologies are, there is a lot of contribution from our Indian young generation and youth, but outside the India, not in India. So I want them to come back to India, do R&D, the research and everything in India, and develop our own product supply to the world. I say, like, Indians have made Microsoft, Indians have made Google, everything, like, we have majority of the Indians are there. The breakthrough technologies are invented by Indians. But then we have done it for the some companies outside India. Why can't we do it for the Indian companies? Why can't we do it for India? Where is country first? That is something which is, if I am doing outside India, then also my intention, my action should should be in direction where what are the benefit to my country with this. If I am in USA, Europe, anywhere, if I am doing something, I should think about, is there any benefit with this action to my country? I think that will bring a lot of change in India. So I look forward to have India, to see India as one of a global supplier, trustable supplier, dependable supplier, and I think make friends globally rather than competing. Competition is not a right word in globalization days. Making friends, working with each other, that's something which is more important.
Lovely. We're talking about young generation, we're talking about youth. So my last question to you, any advice you would like to give to the young entrepreneurs entering clean tech?
Yeah, so now basically we normally we say India is a country of entrepreneurs, and so up till now the journey was like we have entrepreneurs, we have so many entrepreneurs, but the very small scale. So we say India is a country of MSMEs and SMEs. Now its time has come where like we need to make larger organizations, because kind of size that you can build up which helps you to rule the world. If you really want to rule the world in terms of the supplies, in terms of technology, you have to scale up your size. So my advice to the youth is invest your time to build up any organization at the larger scale. Then if you find yourself fit for the entrepreneur, you can start your journey rather than jumping into the entrepreneurship right from the colleges or in the beginning of your journey and then face failures. You need to understand your skill, you need to understand your strength, and you get the chance to utilize your strength and skill in a larger organization rather than entrepreneurship model. So my suggestion is not to get into the entrepreneurship immediately, but brush up your skill with in a larger organization and then decide your future.
Wow, that's a beautiful piece of advice. Thank you so much, sir. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for sharing your journey, and thank you for sharing everything that I'm sure is going to, all those who are watching this, is going to inspire them so much. You took out time, especially from your busy schedule, and joined us today. So it's a pleasure having you here. So once again, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time and perspective.